Right, so last weekend we built some insanely wide wheels for my MGB GT, which is a very small British car. They are 13 inches wide, and I'm very excited today because the tires are here. This is my 17 by 13 Autostrada Modena wheel, custom built by yours truly. And these, oh man, these are 315 35 17s. They came on a Corvette in like the 90s, I guess, early 2000s. I'm not sure which Corvette, but I imagine a beefy boy. And these are Nitto, let's see, what are they? NT 555 G2s. This is so exciting. I've never even owned a tire this wide before. The widest tire I ever bought was a 265, and this is much, this is much bigger. Oh, I'm giddy, so stoked. All right, let's load them up. All right, so we've got a couple errands to run. For everybody that bought one of these, this is the Built Glitch logo hoodie. Love this thing, very stoked. It was a Cyber Monday special, so that's the only time I'm selling them. We may bring it back next Cyber Monday, but they aren't for sale anymore. But if you got one, they'll be on their way to you shortly. Some of you guys may have already received yours. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Let's go get these tires mounted. Two different tire shops. We've got to replace the rear end in this truck, so I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's pretty loud. But I use two different tire shops depending on what kind of wheel work I need done. I just dropped the Corolla wheels and tires off because I've had a leak in those basically since I built them around the bead. I don't know if it's just a dirty bead or what. I've had them remounted a couple times and it just hasn't worked. So I was just like, look, whatever you got to do, get those things to seal. There's another tire shop that has a newer, nicer tire machine, and they just don't care what you bring to them. They're the only shop in town that'll mount like 26s and 30s and stuff like that. So the cars looked kind of weird up until this point where the front is like much wider than the rear, and we're gonna rectify that situation today. First, we gotta get some more tires mounted.
I'm sorry. Didn't even know you could hear that.
These wheels. You know, I always, I mean, for years, have hated on people that build custom wheels. And it's nothing against them at all. It's just the cost. They're so expensive. I mean, if you build a set of custom wheels, for you guys that don't know, like when I say custom, I mean like a 3-piece wheel. When you build a 3-piece wheel from a factory, you're looking at anywhere from, on the low side of the spectrum, they're like $700-800 a wheel. On the high side of the spectrum, you know, you're talking about $5,000 for a set of wheels, easy, 3 to 5, and then you get into like the higher end stuff, and you're like 6, 7, sometimes $10,000. I mean, just ridiculous prices for wheels, and I never understood it. And I was always like, man, I just don't think I'll ever do that. Now, granted, I'm pretty low on these as far as 3-piece wheels are concerned. These wheels without the tires cost me around $1,600, which I know is a lot of money for wheels. And it hurt me a little bit at first. But here's the thing about 3-piece wheels. You take them and you get tires put on them, and all of a sudden, your brain does this very odd thing where it dumps all of the past memory that you have of the money you spent on the wheels and the tires and replaces it with pure elation or joy. These wheels are so wide, they're stretching a 315. So they're balanced, they're ready to go on the car, and we're gonna throw them on. We gotta go pick up the Corolla wheels first, so we can get that car back on the road, because man, I miss driving that car. I love that car so much. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So excited. All right, let's do it.
Come on. We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time, dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time. I think Santa's gonna come and join us in this song. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling, all the windows in the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You and me, doesn't matter, it is Christmas.
Ta-da! These things are incredible. They're way lighter than you would expect, though it's still fairly difficult to dance with a 13-inch wide wheel. I don't know how much they weigh. Do you know what? We can figure it out. One sec. Okay. I got a scale here. Zero it out. I'll get on. I weigh, there we go, 156.5. Cut the light on because it's not so dark in here. So the old wheel, this is a 14 by 6-inch wheel with a 10 offset. Okay, so we've gone up by 3 inches in overall diameter of the actual wheel itself. We've gone up by 7 inches. We've more than doubled the width of this wheel. And our tire is 110 millimeters wider. So keep that in mind when we go over these weights. So I'm 156. All right, and with the wheel, 186.6, that's easy maths. 156.2 without the wheel, 186.6 with the wheel, which means that wheel alone with the tire weighs 20 pounds, 30 pounds. I'm not great at math, 30 pounds. 30 pounds? That's a lot more than I would. Ah, this big boy, how much does he weigh? All right, it's such a big wheel. Okay, here we go, let's see. 208, okay. That's a hefty boy. So, all right, so 156 to 208. So this one weighs 50 pounds. 50 pounds to 30 pounds, almost twice the weight of the last one. It doesn't feel that heavy, but I guess it is. And I guess I'm not that surprised. Well, maybe it is that heavy. So we do have a considerable amount of weight that we are adding, a considerable amount of grip that we're adding, and because of that, we're going to need a considerable amount more. We're going to need a considerable amount more power. How do you say that sentence? We're going to need a considerable power gain, which means engine swap. I think I have an engine picked out. I'm not going to tell you guys about it because I'm going to try to work some stuff out to get that engine worked into this car. But for you guys that are new, the goal for this car in first form is going to be 300 horsepower. to the wheels, and then we'll go up from there based on what's fun and good to drive, all that cool stuff. It's time. And these tires feel expensive. They feel fancy. Maybe it's just because I know that they're fancy, but they feel fancy. Now I gotta come clean with you guys. These wheels don't fit. And I thought about fabricating some drama for you, like true car TV of old, but I'm ready to have these things on too, and I don't wanna waste any more time. But basically, come here, I'll show you. Oh, what's going on? So right here, you have this kind of extrusion where the bump stop is. So right behind here, there's a rubber bump stop. That is just, it might be steel. No, I think it's rubber, but it's very small. Anyway, this, there's like this kind of protrusion here for that. Now, ultimately, it's whatever. Doesn't really matter. We could cut this out and build something or whatever, but our wheel touches that protrusion. It clears everywhere else, which is what I measured for originally, was for like the leaf springs and stuff, because I thought the leaf springs were gonna be the thing in the way. It turns out this is it. So the wheel actually touches right here. Instead of cutting that out, we're gonna do the unthinkable for a 13-inch wide wheel. We're gonna add a spacer. I know, but like, would it really be built if I didn't do something that made you just like roll your eyes and shake your head? This is going behind a 13-inch wide wheel, and that's why. It's the clearance thing. Now, this is not a permanent solution, and I'm gonna have to go to the store and get bolts. See, this doesn't matter for you, because for you it'll just be the next scene, but for me, that's another chore, because these are not gonna be the right pitch. Yeah. I am using this to get the wheel out away from in here. We're gonna be putting a new engine in this thing. I think I'm like 90% on the engine we're gonna use, but it's gonna make a lot more torque than this end, like a lot more torque. And so this rear end is not gonna work. We're gonna be replacing the rear end with one that's wider. We'll be taking the wider rear end, so that's this whole back piece, and cutting it to fit this car. When we do, I'm gonna leave an extra inch out there for my wheels so that we can fit these super wide wheels, and so that everything just kind of works. So this is simulating that the final result will be an actually wider axle, like what we did on the Datsun. Exact same thing. I gotta run to the hardware store. Well, I gotta run to the auto parts store. Such a bummer. Okay, we'll be right back. This doesn't affect you at all, but it affects me. And just like that, we're back. The next concern, I think, is does this hub-centric ring fit the wheel? Because the center of the wheel is pretty small. That is a little bit concerning to me. We'll find out. That would be a fun little mod we'd have to do today. I will say, it is rarely as easy as I want it to be to put wheels on. And I have a bad habit of foreshadowing things like this. Come on, please fit. No. What a bummer. I read somewhere that you're supposed to cut aluminum with wood blades. That's what we're trying here.
Just another sunny day in Southern California. It's where the people came to play. Don't let them transform you. Come and see.
Okay, here we go. I'm very hopeful. The tire does not hit the fender. Alright. This is an exciting thing. The challenge is never ending. What do you guys think? Something like this? Hey! Let me show you how to do it! Yeah! Need me to show you how to do it? Can we come show you how? Hey! Shut up! Hey, I can do it for you! Now, let's try to put the wheel on. Okay, here we go. Okay. This one. This one. What? It's on.
Take a break.
Yeah. Yeah, just a breather.
Turkey sandwich. Pepper jack cheese. You got any sweet tea? Hey! Fix me a sandwich.
Shut up. Just shut up.
Huh?
I ran into some issues.
Good night.
Isn't that awesome?
Is that for real?
Yeah.
Is that legal?
Not, I mean, not yet.
Night, bro.
I'll make it legal though.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like that before.
that's cool.
Is the rear fender gonna cover that?
Yeah, you want to see it? Here, stay right here. I'm not showing them the rear fenders till
We
tomorrow.
gotta be 6 feet apart.
Yeah, I know.
So imagine you like laid down twice. That's about how far we gotta be apart.
But when you're behind, I mean, you'll just see
This
Big
is gonna be
old
this
meaty.
is gonna be my favorite thing you've done.
Oh, me too.
Outside
me
of the
too.
4Runner.
And then I got the spoiler I'm putting on it. The spoiler is gonna be it'll be like back here.
This is stupid, dude. It's so cool.
So this is cool. All right. This is the piece of kit that I'm working off of.
Bruh.
It's basically perfect, isn't it?
Bruh. Come
Like,
on.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Measuring,
I don't know how you do all that, dude.
measuring, and I messed up a lot.
God.
But look at that. I mean, that's like, it's just gonna work.
That's
Just
gonna
that.
look like I don't know what it's gonna look like. It's gonna look incredible.
Like nothing anyone's ever
That's-
seen.
God, it's gonna be. That's a big old butt,
It's a big old butt.
man.
Isn't that awesome?
I'm telling you, bro. That's the awesomest thing I can remember you doing.
Yeah. I'm stoked about it. The back wheels are easy because they don't have to turn. So as long as they can go up and down inside the fender,
Yeah.
it's good. Which this will actually be mounted about right
That's
there.
the widest thing I've never seen a tire like that.
Isn't that sick?
Never.
But it looks, I'm so happy seeing it now because the front makes a lot more
It's
sense.
mean. It just looks mean.
Yeah, that's the goal.
It's like twice as much as
It's actually more than that.
that. Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh sorry, 6 feet. The other one is, the other wheel is 6 inches wide and 205 millimeter tire. This one's 13 inches wide.
It's
and
so cool, man.
350. So it's 105 millimeters, which is like, I don't know.
You should take it to the tire place when you get done and show it to them.
There she is, boys. Looking sick. Man, that's insane. That is so much wheel for this little tiny car. It makes me want to make these wider. We'll get there. And then the comparison, new and old and new and old and new and old. Let's do the other side. definitely think in the end, we're gonna go wider with this inward. So like, if we've got the clearance, go in another 2 inches this way, so we have a 10-inch up front and a 13 in the back. With the fender and stuff, you don't really notice how narrow this tire is, but just for me, I think it'd be cooler as a 10. But that's later, after the thing's going. I don't want to get too hung up on that, but man, look at that. Gosh, I hope the camera's doing this justice. I mean, this is insane. Just insane. All right, I've got enough clearance to drive this thing. I'm gonna try to drive it before the sun goes down. For you guys that don't know, this car didn't run for 27 years before I got it. So before I don't know if I'm gonna get any of the "you ruined that car" comments, but it was ruined way before I got to it. So it does run now, but it doesn't run very well. We're gonna do an engine swap, so I don't wanna spend too much more money or time on the engine itself. But I think last time I checked, it ran pretty good. So we're gonna try to just get it out in the street, take some pictures of it, and drive it back and forth a little bit, see what it looks like in motion. Very stoked. This is the thing that's been in my head for so long. Oh, it's so good. It's taken me longer to get here than I thought it would. This tag behind me says 1993 on it, which is 2 years. I was 2 years old when this car was driven last. Not when it was made, when it was on the road, before I bought it. And to think about the fact that it's moving now is really sick. Okay, so to see it moving now is really awesome. I was watching this interview with a guy that owns Sheepy Race, which is like a company that does like turbo stuff for, mainly for Audi and Lamborghini, but for a bunch of different stuff. And he was saying when he quotes jobs, he always like doubles the time he thinks it's gonna take him because he always runs into issues. And it made me feel a lot better because that's kind of how this project has gone. And every project that I've ever done, I think, has always taken about twice as long as I thought it would. With this one, the engine had to be pulled and we had to replace the clutch and a bunch of seals and stuff, which I had never done before. So I'm super proud that it's moving. But that, plus building a custom front end that I wasn't planning on building, you know, a lot of stuff has gone into this build so far that I wasn't planning on doing, but I'm so stoked that we did. We've got full articulation in the steering up front, which is awesome. We've got plenty of clearance in the back to go down, which is awesome. And finally, if you've ever wanted to do stuff like this, my advice is just start. Just start. If you want to start a YouTube channel, just start it. If you want to start building custom cars, just start building custom cars. You don't have to have a lot of money. I know these wheels for me were very expensive, but this is not the first set of wheels I've ever bought. This is like the 20th maybe. I bought wheels for a build that were $100 before. So it's not really about building the most expensive, coolest thing. It's just about learning how to build. And I am under the very, very strong belief that to learn something, you just have to do it. You have to practice. You can only learn so much from observing and from studying. You've got to actually do stuff to get better. So I actually recognize that in my own skills today when putting these back wheels on and running into the spacer issue and the clearance issue. 2 or 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to handle that. I handled that in like 20 minutes. It would have taken me hours to figure out how to fix it, how to cut the aluminum, if I should cut the aluminum, how to cut the body, all that stuff. So it's stuff you just gotta practice. I hope you guys are as stoked about this build as I am. I am doing a render, a final render of this car this week. Maybe tomorrow night, maybe tonight. I don't know. In one of these days. But I've got 2 days left to do a final render drawing of this car. It is a design that you guys have not seen yet. I have some stuff I haven't told you about yet, I haven't showed you, and I'm trying to decide if I want to post that or not. So let me know below if you want to see the final render, if you want the surprises that I have in store. Let me know in the comments below, and that'll help me decide. Tomorrow, we're going to be putting the kit on, and it's sitting right over there, and it already fits really, really well. So we're going to start with the kit for the rear tomorrow, getting it mounted, getting it cut and fit to this car, and then we may start some sculpting as well. It just depends on how close it looks. Just for me holding it up and kind of checking things out, it looks like it fits almost perfectly already, which is pretty cool because that means less work, but we will know for sure tomorrow when we kind of get everything mounted and checked out. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. CST. That's 12 on the East Coast. It is 8 a.m. on the West Coast. I'll see you in the next one.